The King of Fighters 94 was originally released in the arcade, as well as having a port on the Neo Geo home console. Now, I don't expect my viewers to have the Neo Geo, but you can still play this game on the PlayStation 2 with the King of Fighters Collection, the Orochi Saga, as well as the SNK Arcade Classics. Now, both of these are also available for the Wii, as well as the game being downloadable on the Wii Virtual Console. There's no real in-depth plot to this game. Basically, the King of Fighters tournament is starting again. It's the year 1994, and invitations are sent all over the world. The catch is, instead of having one-on-one competition, it's now 3-on-3, and the last man standing wins. All the invitations are signed simply with the letter R. Although there really isn't much of a main plot, I have the feeling that this was done on purpose because they originally intended for it to be a crossover title. They basically wanted to just have the intellectual properties of SNK all into one game, which include Fatal Fury, The Art of Fighting, Ikari Warriors, and Psycho Soldiers. However, there are original characters in the game as well. Once you start the game, you get your character select screen. However, unlike future King of Fighters games, you can't just pick individual characters from different teams. You have to pick the whole team. Teams are split up based on country. After picking your team, and between every fight, you can pick the order in which you want your characters to appear, whether they be first, second, or third. There can be some strategy to this depending on how well you play with each character. The stage design in this game is very well done. There's a lot of nice detail in the background, and you probably noticed that in the beginning of every fight, there's always a nice little intro into the stage. Like most SNK games, the button style is based on a 4-button configuration. You have 2 punch buttons and 2 kick buttons. And also, on the PlayStation 2, the shoulder buttons will act as combined buttons from the face. For example, light punch, strong punch, and light kick will actually be L2 on your PS2 controller. And this actually works very well because there are combinations of buttons you can do to do certain moves, such as charge up your special bar, as well as even dodge an opponent's attack. The special bar in this game is kind of like a combination of how Fatal Fury works as well as the Art of Fighting. Just like the Art of Fighting, you can charge up your special bar as well as the opponent can taunt to bring your special bar down. But like in Fatal Fury, you can do your special whenever your health is low enough. But you can also do your special when your special bar is at max. SNK is known to have more complicated configurations when it comes to doing their supers, or in this case, desperation moves. The King of Fighters 94 is no exception to this either. However, some are easier to do than others. Take Terry Bogard's move, for example, the Power Geyser. All you have to do is quarter circle back, half circle forward, and then press a combination of high punch and low kick. Kyo Kusanagi's Serpent Wave is just about identical, except you simply press high punch instead of low kick and high punch at the same time. One of the things I like about the King of Fighters in general is the sprite work. Now, the game kind of has this pseudo 3D kind of look, and by that I simply mean the sprites kind of bulge out toward you. You probably can't really tell from this video, but if you look hard enough and play the actual games, you can definitely see it a lot better. Much like other SNK games, the music in this is fantastic. However, the sound effects and the voice work are not as good. The voice work was taken straight from Fatal Fury Special and The Art of Fighting 2 when it comes to those respective characters. And basically, the quality is not as good as it is with characters that they did new voice work for. Also, the sound effects are very chunky and they sound rather distorted, which can sometimes be displeasing to the ear. This game isn't very beginner-friendly. In fact, it can be very unforgiving if you're not careful enough, because not only are the special moves a little more complicated to do, but the AI is no slouch either. After beating all of the other teams, a secretary named Mature will basically congratulate you and then bring you aboard a ship known as the Black Noah. This is where you go to meet the boss fight, Rugal Bernstein. Rugal is a bit of a nut. Basically what he does is fighters that he's defeated in the past, he'll turn to statues. And there's a bit of a controversy with this game because one of the statues looks a lot like Guile from Street Fighter 2. Rugal is one of the reasons why this game is considered to be difficult. He has what's known as SNK Boss Syndrome, which basically is another way of just saying he's a cheap boss. The first fight with him is actually pretty easy. It's the second fight you have to worry about. That's when he starts to really get dangerous. He has both the Reppuken of Geese and the Kaiser Wave from Krauser, and he also has a few moves of his own, such as the Genocide Cutter, which is really your biggest threat. One of the strategies I have against the second fight with Rugal is to use Hydern. Hydern has this move where if you hold down, charge it for a couple seconds, press up, and then a kick button, he'll jump, grab the person, and do this spinning cutter-like move. Rugal seems to be rather vulnerable to this, but you have to time it perfectly. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to wait for him to throw a Reppuken, and as it's coming, jump quickly and do the move, and then just keep doing this a bunch of times until you get him into a loop. Once you finally beat Rugal, you get to see your team's ending. Rugal, being the sore loser that he is going to try and sink the ship and just kill you with it. But, luckily your team will escape, and then you get to see their ending. Much like other fighting games, because there's an ending for every team, this obviously is going to add to the replay value. The King of Fighters 94 is a very solid fighting game, and although it has a couple of audio problems, I totally recommend that anyone who is into fighting games play this. I'm going to give it a good 7 out of 10. It's a great game, but the sequels are definitely better. Who would ever imagine that a little crossover game would turn into its own series? I mean, that's not very common. And we're going on King of Fighters 12 coming out this year. That's absolutely amazing. Anyway, going back to the King of Fighters 94, it's a great game. I totally recommend you pick it up. And until next time, this is IronFury, and take care.